destroying the demon of addiction, ladies and gentlemen. If there ever was something that could accurately portray a demon, an evil spirit, a negative force, addiction sure as hell would be an accurate, something that we could use as an example of a demon. Addiction kills so many people every year. It is absolutely atrocious. So I know a handful of people who have died from overdoses, from consuming too much alcohol, and most of these people, they didn't see it coming. So to them, it was just another night of drinking, another night of shooting up, another night of doing, more drugs. And they didn't wake up that morning, or they had massive, heart failure, you name it. So these are the risks that you run into coming into contact with. You run the risk of dying from using your drugs, from using your alcohol, simply by, just consuming too much of it, or, there's a handful of different things that can happen. The risks of addiction far outweigh. There's no benefits. It's all risk. It's literally like jumping into uncharted water. It's like jumping into shark-infested water. Let's just put it that way. Your odds of making it out of there are pretty slim. And sure, with cigarettes, with pot, with certain things, it's not going to kill you immediately. Tobacco is an absolutely destructive substance, but it's usually a slow kill. You usually see it coming. There's more often than not a handful of warning signs along the road that people, they're so addicted to tobacco that they ignore all the warning signs. At least with tobacco, it gives you warning signs, like, you can't fucking breathe properly, or when you breathe in, there's like excuse me. Oftentimes when people smoke a lot of cigarettes, they wheeze when they breathe. It makes like a noise. That's sign number one. You might want to quit. It's just insane to me how, regardless of the warning signs that you're given, you stay okay with it. And usually it's because you don't have like a warning sign that tells you that if you don't stop, you're going to die immediately. So people ignore warning signs when they know they have more time to put things off. That's what I'm saying. Whereas someone who's told that they have lung cancer from smoking, more often than not, that jolts them out of their hypnosis and they quit. You shouldn't get yourself to a point like that, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what so many people do. I know so many well-meaning people that I love, that have smoked for over 30, 40 years, and they keep going forward, even though they know multiple people who were older than them that led the same type of lifestyle, and they literally died from lung complications. So with smoking, yeah, I'm glad that you think it's so great right now, but it's a surefire way to a slow, miserable death, ladies and gentlemen. I know a handful of people who have died from this, from lung-related complications from smoking. So, and smoking, ladies and gentlemen, is one of the more benevolent addictions, because again, it gives you a lot of time to quit. But they make those things so goddamn addictive. They engineer them to be so addictive that it literally rewrites your neurochemistry and your just everything about you, to the point where you are now a slave to the substance. And when you don't have your substance, your brain and your body makes you feel so uncomfortable that you just delete all rationality and you fret to go get your substance so that you can calm your program and addicted self down. So, this addiction destroys rational thinking, because once you start craving your substance, once you start getting a little bit of withdrawals, you lose rational thinking, because the discomfort from the withdrawals are so uncomfortable that you would rather risk staying addicted to something than just plunging through and, invoking Hercules, or, metaphorically speaking, just invoking the energy of Thor, getting through it with some strength. You'd rather go delete any potential progress that could be made when you don't have your substance. You'd rather go find your substance to, I'm not trying to be judgmental. I understand what people are going through with addiction, because I've been there. So I try to understand. But at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I've been free from addiction for so long that I have a really short fuse for it. to me, it's like watching someone burning their house down, and instead of just coming through with the fire truck, they expect you to just lightly spray their house down with the hose. Like, oh, don't be mean with me. I'm addicted. I'm suffering. Just tell me what I want to hear. That's not how it works. And unfortunately, the culture is built around this kind of ideology, and it turns you into like a glorified victim, if you will. And because of that, ladies and gentlemen, so many people stay stuck to addictions. We need to embrace tough love. Tough love. If someone you know is an addict, tell them upright and tell them that they need to change. Now, you don't want to be some little hen-pecking asshole who, instead of actually inspiring them to change, you just kind of bitch at them, because the two things they're totally different. But I'm here to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that managing your addictions, you cannot embrace health at all until your addictions are managed. It is totally meaningless. A lot of people contact me about a handful of things related to health. Oh, what herbs can I take? What can I do with this? Blah, 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 blah. But they're addicted still to a handful of different things. You need to manage your addictions first and foremost. It is only when your addictions are managed and sustained. What I mean by that, when you stay sober, it is then and only then, folks, that you can really truly embrace health, because addiction to particular substances, alcohol, tobacco, heroin, all this crap, all it's going to do is blot out every single attempt that you have to get healthy. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, if you're addicted to a hard drug, a mind-altering substance, and alcohol for sure is a mind-altering substance, folks, what's going to end up happening is that you're not going to be stable mentally. It's impossible to be an addict and remain, how would I say this? It is impossible to be an addict and remain stable to be able to take care of your health. And what I mean by that is, if you're jonesing for things and if you're goddamn trucks, if you're unable to stay off something that's killing you, what makes you think you're going to be able to stay on a path that's going to bring you life? Again, if you are unable to say no to things that are killing you, how are you going to be able to say yes to things that, give you life, that make you healthy? You may be wondering, well, what does that mean? Well, for one, you're not able to say no to the thing that's killing you, yet you want to embrace health? You need to get rid of the death-inducing substances that you're shoving in your mouth. And I'm not pissed, and I hope I don't sound like I'm pissed, because I'm not. I care about you, and I don't want to see you 6 feet under. So you've got to stop being overly, what's the word I'm looking for? You've got to stop lying to yourself and being overly polite to yourself when you relapse. Enough is enough. It's 2020, ladies and gentlemen. We are existing in a crazy time. This is indeed a new world order melting pot. There are all sorts of crazy things happening here in 2020. The last thing that you need to do to yourself, on top of all the other crazy shit, is to be an addict, a slave to alcohol, a slave to tobacco, a slave to whatever it is that you know you shouldn't be doing. All these people popping Xanax and all the just stupidity with the pharmaceutical drugs. Enough is enough. It is so gross. And I'm just amazed at how far we've fallen. In many ways, I'm not judging you. In many ways, shapes, and forms, I'm judging myself, because I've been there. But you know what? Eventually, you've got to snap yourself out of what you're doing and throw yourself into the right direction. Now, there's going to be some discomfort. There's going to be some uncertainty. There's going to be some times where you sure as hell are tempted to go back to your old ways. But these are the stepping stones for growth that you need, so that you can become strong again, so that you can become radically and radiantly healthy. You've got to embrace your inner strength and get through those hurdles, knowing that even though there's some discomfort along the way, you're doing what's right. And when you get to the other side of the fence, you're going to feel 10,000 times better than you do now. because you're going to get healthy again. You're going to be able to see things for what they are. You're going to be able to use your own mind to problem solve and all the other things, instead of having to be addicted to a substance to feel like you need to be like, so many people think they need substances to handle reality. If you need a substance to handle reality, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a rude awakening. You've got to work on your inner strength. Addictions to substances that kill us blot out our inner strength by default because they kill you. And when you participate in an act of killing yourself slowly, you're not developing inner strength. You are becoming weak on all levels. Your body's becoming weak. You're losing your life force. You're losing your mind to a substance. You're becoming enslaved to a substance, ladies and gentlemen. Get outside, take your shoes off, and plant your feet on the goddamn earth. Let some direct current energy up into your system. Get outside of your mind. That's one of the biggest problems, where people are trapped inside their own minds. They're trapped in a place within a place within a place within a place within their mind, and they don't know how to get out. This is why I talk about the motionlessness exercises and the full body relaxation exercises and the thoughtlessness exercises and the inner temple exercises. All of these things exist to help you break free from the shackles that you may or may not be caught in. And so many people are. It's pretty easy to see. People are in their own heads, trapped in their own heads, and unable to find out how to navigate out of their own heads so that they can have inner peace. Constant stimulation, excessive amounts of stress, all the worries that come from living in this crazy world, ladies and gentlemen, all of our jobs, all of these things lead to a state where we feel like we need to have some type of escape. And unfortunately, the Matrix supplies all the escapes for us. The alcohol, the tobacco, the drugs are on the streets, you name it. It's everywhere. But you have the ability, ladies and gentlemen, to enter into radically powerful states of consciousness where you can navigate through this sick world and not succumb to the addictions. And again, like I said earlier, until you manage your addictions, there is no point in supplementing and trying to embrace health and all this other nonsense, ladies and gentlemen. You have got to get yourself to a place where you are serious about changing, because until you change the things that are destroying your health, you are fucked. Excuse my language. I'm not trying to sound rude, but it's true. I mean, think about it this way. You're out on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and there's a giant hole in the middle of the deck, and you're taking on water. It's a giant hole. But off in the distance, you notice that there's a you have a fishing pole on one side of the boat, and you notice that the line got caught. So there's something on the pole, a fish took your bait, you name it. The fishing pole's bending. And instead of you fixing the hole in the boat, which is the addiction, you decide to go off and try to catch the little fish, even though your boat is sinking. Now, the fishing pole is a metaphor for little distractions that take you away from addressing what you need to address first and foremost, which is your addiction problem. You have the ability like that. You've just forgotten. You have the ability like that to change your mind and to change your life. So a lot of people think it's cool to do drugs. A lot of people think it's cool to have access to a bunch of illegal pharmaceuticals that they shouldn't have. A lot of people think it's cool to be able to drink a bunch of booze. And a lot of people think it's cool to smoke their New World Order cigarettes. You've been mind controlled heavily by all the Hollywood bullshit about how drugs are cool and it's rebellious and, oh, look at you, you're so cool. What I see is weakness. Strength comes from those who walk the narrow road, ladies and gentlemen, that walk the razor's edge. Who, instead of just succumbing to the peer pressure and the bullshit around them, they navigate through it based on an inherent moral core that they've developed. So you have the ability like that to change your direction and to figure everything out. But you, more often than not, or most people, would rather stay stuck in their perpetual cycle of addiction and bad health. And poor you. You're a victim, right? No, you probably have a beautiful life, and this is just stuck in the way. And you're feeding it like you're feeding a demon. You're throwing T-bone steaks to this demon, and it's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Snap out of your trance, ladies and gentlemen. Manage your addictions first and foremost. Get rid of the hole in the boat before you worry about the damn fish on the fishing pole. Because what's more important, eating or sinking your ship and losing your life? Get the boat able to float, and then worry about catching the food. Then worry about other things in life. So, somebody recently asked me, what should I take when I'm detoxing? Well, it depends on if you're actually detoxing. If you're serious about letting go of the alcohol, and you're an addict, and you've been if you're an alcoholic, for instance, and you've been drinking heavily, you need to contact a help hotline. They're free online. Contact a doctor, an advice nurse, and ask them what you should do, because alcohol, whether you like to believe it or not, is one of the most dangerous drugs. And yes, it is a drug. It's one of the most dangerous drugs to detox from. It kills people all the time in the emergency room. It kills people all the time at home who think that, I shouldn't call the doctor. They have a handful of drugs that can help you lower your heart rate and help you get through the delirium if you're going to go through that, if you're going to start having hallucinations and whatnot. And yes, many people do. I did. Worry about getting sober first. It's not just a matter of take this supplement. But for those who are interested in supplementing, I'm not even going to say that. There's a handful of very powerful constituents that you can use to help your liver. But the most important thing is abstinence, ladies and gentlemen. The most important thing is abstinence. Getting through that rocky period and staying sober. So I love you all. I hope you can change your ways if you're an addict and you're trying to get through your addictions. I believe in you. I have probably 14 to 15 hours of content just on addiction recovery and alcoholism and all of it on my channel. All you've got to do is click the search tab on my main channel page and type in alcohol or addiction. There's plenty of content that I've put out to help you get a better grasp on your own personal power, how you can move forward, how you can change your life. And there's also, ladies and gentlemen, a handful of videos that I've designed specifically for people who are going through withdrawals to help them get through it. So until next time, peace be with you.